Today, let's take a look at some ads out of the Arizona Senate election. It's an open seat. We've got Ruben Gallego for the Dems, Kari Lake for the GOP. 3 ads apiece. We'll look at them, see what they've got going on. Let's get started here with Kari Lake.
4 years of inflation crushed our families. Where's the money going? Ruben Gallego knows. The Kamala Inflation Act created the worst inflation in 40 years and made our families' essentials unaffordable. Ruben Gallego voted for it without question. Then, Gallego joined Washington Democrats in sending our tax dollars to fund illegal migrants. Welfare for them, more debt for us. Radically wrong, Ruben Gallego. A mistake we can't afford again.
I'm Kari Lake, and I approve this message.
All right, the border and immigration, huge topic in that state. Lake making the case that inflation has been crushing and there might have been too many benefits going toward illegal immigrants. Some people might just say that's not really true, but either way, I think there's enough voters out there that want to make sure that any resources are only flowing toward American citizens. Now, at the beginning, she also refers to the Kamala Inflation Act. Lake is trying to make the connection between Gallego and Harris as being the party in power when things got so bad. She's got all the grainy footage of people crossing the border and the scary music to go with it. I think this type of ad is going to work well enough. Some people might say it's misleading or false. It's not really what I try to judge in these ads, but I do think it would be effective enough. Now let's go on to the first ad from Ruben Gallego. Here it is.
In the Marines, we always said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Well, Arizonans know, on the border, there is no plan. So here's what I'm going to do. Better technology and more manpower to stop illegal crossings. Modernize the ports of legal entry so workers and goods that our economy relies on can pass. And tell Washington politicians, stop coming to Arizona for your BS political stunts. We just want solutions. I'm Ruben Gallego, and I approve this message.
All right, so this is Gallego trying to tackle the issue of the border himself. It looks like he's out in the desert talking directly to the camera and the voters. He's trying to convey a no-nonsense type of approach. He admits something definitely needs to be done at the border. He does not mention a wall, but he does mention securing it with more manpower and technology, modernizing ports of entry, and so on. This is a huge issue on the state. He's got to cut an ad on it. Again, you might think he's insincere, but I don't think this is a bad ad. I think it's going to get the job done. Now let's keep it rolling here. We've got another ad from Gallego. Let's dive in.
I'm John, Republican, veteran, small business owner. When I hire someone, I look at resumes for the most qualified person, and that's not Kari Lake. She'll say whatever it takes to win, doesn't offer any real solutions, and that's dangerous. But Ruben Gallego is a man of principles. That's why he has a plan for the border, fighting to lower costs for families, and served our country in the Marines. That's the kind of person I'd hire.
I'm Ruben Gallego, and I approve this message.
Okay, I think this is more of a typical type of ad we see from politicians on all sides. They bring in a voter that purports to be a typical voter for one side, but in this election, they're going to cross party lines. So this guy here is a Republican, a veteran, and a small business owner. Those are 3 groups that you might think stereotypically would favor the Republicans, but this guy here is going to let you know that that's not the case. He's supporting Gallego. Looks like they're in a shop here. This guy is working with his hands, and there's some generic mentions of fixing the border and rising prices. Gallego also does have the military experience, which he did mention in the previous ad. This is not any kind of a knockout ad, but also I don't think it's a total dud either. So a middle of the road ad. Let's go back to Kari Lake and see what she's got for ad number 2.
On March 17th, we lost one of our sons. He ingested a pill that later we found out was a synthetic opioid.
The last 4 years, we've seen changes within the state. This country's hemorrhaging right now.
Border security is life and death, and in Congress, Ruben Gallego chose radical open border policies. Gallego voted against funding border security while voting to grant voting rights to the criminals who illegally cross. Ruben Gallego, radically wrong on the border. I'm Kari Lake, and I approve this message.
Okay, more on the border and immigration. The first half of this is also pretty standard stuff for politicians. They've got a couple sitting at a table making an emotional plea. This time it's about fentanyl and the drugs crossing the border. Usually Democrats do it with abortion or guns. Republicans do it with crime or immigration. It's not bad, but it's just something we see all too often. The rest of this ad has more grainy footage and goes right after Gallego again on the border. It's a difficult issue for Democrats to look like they're strong on. They're the party in power. They controlled all branches for a couple of years, and voters do want more restrictions. So it's a good topic for Lake. She hits it hard. I think the ad is okay, but the next topic of abortion, that's going to favor Gallego, and he's up first. Let's get into it.
The following are real voters reacting to things Kari Lake has said. Arizona will not be a state where abortions are happening.
It is not health care.
That's not a medical choice.
Ew.
It's really almost a genocide.
Makes me want to vomit.
I don't think Kari Lake respects women.
I absolutely believe that Kari Lake is dangerous for Arizona. I don't think she has a place in Senate at all.
She's not right for Arizona. She's too extreme, and we can do better.
I'm Ruben Gallego, and I approve this message.
All right, as I say every time, this is going to be an issue that favors the Democrats. There's no question about it. It's always effective to use somebody's words against them. Sometimes they are taken out of context. That can be true and misleading. But I think there's enough past statements from Lake on this issue where she's not going to look good at all. Now, these voters reacting to it, they were probably already in favor of Gallego anyway. But for those that are just watching Lake's statements, it might help getting to see these women react to those statements in real time. And of course, they're obviously going to be disgusted. They're going to say it's extreme. It's a challenge for most Republicans to try to deal with this issue. But we're going to finish it up here with Lake and her approach to this issue. Let's get into it.
The lies about my stance on abortion are outrageous, so I want you to hear it from me. I will not support a federal ban on abortion or support using your tax dollars to fund abortions. This is a decision that's been handed back to the states, and I trust you to decide what the law is. I vow as your senator to support the law, identify issues that drive a woman to seek an abortion, and work to put forth policies to protect women who choose to have babies. I'm Kari Lake, and I approve this message.
Okay, so this is a legitimate ad. She's on camera pleading directly to the voter. And the reactions here are going to be polarized. Democrats are going to say this falls completely flat. She's totally insincere and just saying whatever she can say to get elected. There is going to be that side of it. As I already said, Gallego is going to be favored. But she's not really beating around the bush here. She says she's going to trust voters, she's going to support women, and look into the reasons that women get abortions in the first place. I think sometimes this issue gets overly simplified when certain aspects of it I think could have some more nuance. But if you're looking at it from a defense of Kari Lake, maybe she softened up on the issue a little bit, but most of that motivation is probably because she's trying to win a Senate race. So either you don't trust her already, or relative to this particular issue, at least looks like she makes a serious plea to voters. So those are the ads for Arizona Senate. There are other ads out there. I can't look at all of them, but none of these 6 really stood out to me as being good or terrible, close to the middle with a reasonable amount of effectiveness. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about any of these ads for Arizona Senate? Do you think Ruben Gallego had great ads and he's going to win this race? Or do you think Kari Lake has the better messaging and she's going to come out on top? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.